It's salmon season, and that means that not too long ago, this was pink salmon that was swimming in Puget Sound. Now it's a wonderful, smoky, delicious, salty and sweet treat. I've got some hot smoked salmon. Let's take a look at how we make it. So if you live in the Pacific Northwest and fall comes, the kids go back to school, but if it's an odd number year, that means the pink salmon are running. Pink salmon are kind of a lower end of the salmon classification. Probably not something that you're cooking a lot for dinner or making a big barbecue and having friends come over, but people just love to smoke pink salmon. My son and a couple of my grandkids were out this past week and they got some pink salmon. So we're gonna put these on the smoker and make up something wonderful. So first thing that we're going to start with is 3/4 cup of dark brown sugar. This is going to be the marinade. Next thing, 3/4 cup of salt goes in there as well. Now we're going to add in soy sauce, and I like this because it gives it just a sweetness. You can use teriyaki also, that's wonderful. That's about 1/2 cup. And then we've got about 1/4 cup of this is the Bachmann's Japanese barbecue sauce, really like that. And then we've got 1 tablespoon of black pepper. So that all goes together, and we're going to add in 1/4 of warm water. We're going to stir this all up, get that nicely dissolved. You can play around with a marinade recipe like this, see what you like. I've really liked teriyaki. That's a nice little touch to it as well. Some people put in some sriracha or something else to kind of spice it up, even some chili powder. So whatever you like, just play around with a little bit and put that together. Now at the end we're going to crunch up some bay leaves and put those in. That's 3 bay leaves. Those are going to go in there as well. So the warm water helps everything dissolve in there. We're going to set this aside for now, and we're going to cut up that salmon and put it in a baking dish, and that's going to make it all ready to go. We're going to add the marinade, put some saran wrap over top of it, and put it into the refrigerator for about 4 or 5 hours. And that's going to allow that to really permeate into it and give it a nice brine. So here's our salmon. This is all nicely cleaned, washed off, and ready to go. So we're going to take these fillets and cut them down a little bit. What we want to do is put them in a dish sideways. So we're just going to cut these in half. Extra little trim here wouldn't be a bad idea. Get that fin off. We'll cut that in half. These will sit in here nicely. Kind of put the tails to each way there so you can get a little bit more in that, doing it that way. And then, in order to make sure that everything gets a good marinade on it, this is my little trick. I add in I drop in some chopsticks. And what the chopsticks do is it prevents the meat from touching other parts of the meat. Just allows it to kind of sit in here a little bit and provides a little bit of a gap in between all these pieces. Now we'll take that marinade, try to equally distribute it. There we go. So all the salmon is coming in contact with the marinade, so that's good. And we'll just let these sit for about 4 or 5 hours. And that'll allow that marinade to really seep in and do its magic, kind of a curing on that. And then we'll pull them off, put them into the smoker, kind of low and slow. We want that to go probably right around 200 degrees until they're nice and firmed up. I think we want 140, 150 degrees for the internal temperature on them. All right, so the next step is, after this has been under the brine for about 4 hours, we're going to need to rinse these off. So we're just going to use some cool water. Just give them a quick rinse. And then we're going to lay these out on some newspaper. So what the purpose of this is to develop what's called the pellicle. So the pellicle is a little bit of a crust that you get on the top of the fish. And basically it just forms a little bit of a, almost like a crust. A lot of that is because of the brine, the sugars in there, and the salt. It just really seals in a lot of the brine. So you see where we're just giving them a quick rinse and then laying them out here on some newspaper with the skin side down to develop that pellicle. Pulling all of these pieces off here, and then we are going to also just give them a quick little blot with paper towel on the top as well. Quick little blot on that across all the pieces. And we're going to give that probably hour, hour and a half, and we'll see that pellicle start to develop on top of there. Then we're going to put it into the smoker on several racks and let them smoke up. So we let that pellicle develop on the outside of this, and just put the salmon in here. You'll notice that it's on some racks. I can tell that the pellicles developed because it's a little bit shiny on there. I did sprinkle this with a little bit of black pepper. I like what that does. So these are in there, going to bed inside this Traeger 125. It's seen its better days as far as the exterior, but the interior doesn't know any different. I just upgraded this with a new controller. I put a new fire pod, a new hot rod in there. So as far as the operation of this, it's just like brand new. The meat doesn't know that there's some rust on the outside, and definitely anybody you serve this to isn't going to be looking at the outside of what your smoker looks like. We are using alder pellets in here, and alder is a wood that's very plentiful in the Pacific Northwest, and we use this a lot for salmon. It's a very mild flavor. It gives a good smokiness to it. We've got this set at about 140 degrees right now. That'll give us some good smoke on here. We're going to let that go for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. We're going to turn this up to probably about 210, 220 degrees, and that way we can cook this. We want to go up to about 140 interior temperature in this salmon. We don't want to go higher than that because it's going to dry it out. We don't want to be any lower than that because it's not going to be fully cooked through. So we're going to do a probe on the interior temperature of that just to know where we're at. Once we hit that mark, we're going to pull it off and let it cool down. We'll put it in the refrigerator overnight covered, and then tomorrow morning we're going to put it in vacuum seal bags. On those vacuum seal bags, we're going to note what kind of salmon it was and the date as well. Put them in the refrigerator, or we can store them for longer in the freezer and pull them out 6 months, 8 months from now. It's going to be just like pulling them out within a couple of days. And since pink salmon only run every 2 years, you got to get them when they're running, and we can smoke them up, and then we can stash them for the future. All right, I think we are just about up to temperature here. We're going to check in on the salmon. Oh, that's looking good. That white there is actually the oils and the fat. So we're going to probe in here. And there we go. Anywhere between 130 and 140 would be considered hard smoke on this. I think we're right there also. That one. Maybe just a few more minutes here, as we're just about at the high 120s all the way across. But we're looking really good on this, and I think it'll just be a short time. And I think we'll probably end up taking our final temperature here. Probably don't want to go over 140. So this is a good temperature. We are going to pull these, bring them inside, put them on the counter, and just let them cool down a little bit before we put them in the refrigerator. That is some beautiful smoked salmon. These were pink salmon. We're going to let these cool off and give them a try. Okay, so our salmon is complete. We've pulled it off the smoker. It's looking really wonderful. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Wow. And I cut a little piece off of here, so we're going to give it a taste test. Had a chance for it to cool down also. Good smoke on it. I can taste the salt. I can taste that pepper on there. We added a little bit of soy sauce. Adds a little bit of richness to it. I really enjoy that. So this is completely done. It flakes a little bit, so that's good. It's not mushy or anything in the inside. It's nice and firm. You can do a ton of different things with this. You can just serve this on crackers, maybe put a little cream cheese with it, crumble it up and put it into a cheese ball with some chopped up walnuts in there. You can even add in maybe some dried berries are great also, chopped up. So lots of different things that you can do with this once it's completed. You don't have to just serve it as a chunk of salmon by itself, but you can add it to other things, experiment around and see what you like. But this is absolutely fantastic for a fish that is really fun to catch. Not the best to be able to serve as like a main dish. Smoke this up, and pink salmon is absolutely wonderful. So good, so tasty. We're going to enjoy this until the next pink salmon run, which is 2 years away. Hey, if you enjoy what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you find out when we put new content out, and share it with your friends. Give me some comments on there, and make sure that you figure out what you're going to cook in your backyard this weekend. And thanks for watching.